Hi, this is Mr. Williamson, and today I'm going to be talking about the earthworm, lumbricus. This is for the dissection and go over the anatomy that you need to know. We're working from this diagram, and it's in your packet. We'll go over the parts and make sure you also have your terms that you need. It was included in the packet so you can see how to spell them and put them in the right place. This is the image of the labeled earthworm. I would recommend that you pause the video and get down the parts that you need so that you can refer back to the image or the diagram as a study guide. And I'm going to, like I said, pause the video, but I'm going to go ahead and go to the picture of the worm and show you the parts. What you need to be able to take this diagram and kind of match it up to the picture of the worm that I'm about to show you, and vice versa. Take a picture of the worm and be able to match it to the diagram here. So that's the goal here, is to be able to match the two so that they you know, something to study and they make sense when you look at the worm. So go ahead and pause the video and get down the information you need. Meanwhile, I'm going to go on here in a moment or two. Okay, we're talking now about the worm. I'm going to try to do this to go down in order. First of all, a couple of the things that you can't see are like the CT. And the CT are on the outside of the worm. They're little spines, okay, the outside of the worm, not on the inside. I'm drawing on the inside, but outside of the worm, little spines that point backwards, and they allow the worm to push against the dirt. So as the worm goes through the dirt, they kind of push back and add some friction. The other part of the worm that you can't see is this part right here, and you can actually see it from there and there, and there's a little stripe across here, and that's the clitellum, which is involved in mating. Basically, what they do is they go head to tail, tail to head, and they are hermaphrodites, so they exchange. Not only do they donate sperm to their partner, but they also accept sperm from their partner. And the clitellum is responsible for the mucus that holds them together, binds them together while they're mating. So those are the two parts outside the worm that you need to see. All right, going down from the top is first of all, we have the mouth up here. Okay, that's the opening to the digestive system. And it's also the buccal pouch. So you could also put the buccal pouch there because that's the inside of the mouth. And unfortunately, when we cut the worm open, you lose the inside of the mouth. It just becomes kind of an open place. But the buccal pouch is the inside of the mouth. Going down from the buccal pouch is the digestive system, and it takes us to the pharynx, which is this large organ kind of right in here. It may actually extend down into this area, but I'm not real sure, but I know that's the pharynx. And the pharynx is the first part of the digestive system. It adds enzymes and moisture to the food, preparing it to continue down the digestive system. So again, the pharynx is the very first part of the digestive system. It adds enzymes and moisture to the food. Between the pharynx here and the crop is underneath all this is the esophagus. And the esophagus is responsible. It's just basically a tube that carries all the food from the pharynx down here down to the crop down here. Okay, and it's the throat. It's the throat of the worm. It doesn't really do anything except to carry the food, transport the food down to the crop. So, and just for spelling here, this is the pharynx, and this is the esophagus. Esophagus, sorry. And then this is the crop. The crop is the stomach. It holds the food. It stores the food for later on, so the worm doesn't have to eat all the food all at once, but it gets to store it in there. And then immediately after the crop is the gizzard. And so you can make it a little clearer here. The gizzard is this cream-colored one here. Okay. And the gizzard grinds up the food. It's a very muscular organ. When you touch it with the probe, you'll find that it's very firm. And it's because it's a lot of muscle. So some of the food goes in there and it grinds it together in a way that kind of breaks apart any of the parts and gets as much enzymes into the nutrients, into the food that's actually eating. Remember, earthworms eat dirt. They're eating actually the bacteria and the fungus and the other organic matter that's found inside the dirt, but they do eat dirt, so they have to grind it up to get the stuff out of it, the nutrients out of it. And worms don't have teeth, so they use the gizzard. And then immediately after the gizzard is the intestine. The intestine runs, it's the tube that runs all the way down to the very end of the worm. And the intestine is where the nutrients are absorbed. It's been ground up and the enzymes have been added, and the nutrients are absorbed into the worm's blood system, the dorsal blood vessel, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But it's the site of nutrient absorption. And then finally, when it goes out the anus, where the leftover food, undigested food, dirt, and things like that are passed on. And that's the digestive system. So to go over real quickly, it would be the mouth, the buccal pouch, and this would be the pharynx. We have the esophagus, which takes us down to the crop, which takes us to the gizzard. And this takes us to the intestine, and finally down to the anus. So that's the digestive system. Again, the whole purpose is to get nutrients out of the food. The next organ system that we're going to talk about is the circulatory system. And the circulatory system of the worm kind of goes like this. And it has the 5 hearts up here. And the 5 hearts right here are underneath there. They're little black things. You can kind of see one right in this area here. I'll erase this in a moment and show it to you more closely. But the hearts really just kind of pump the blood backward. They don't work like valves and things like our hearts. They just kind of move the blood. And the blood, I'm honestly not sure if it goes like in a circular motion or if it just kind of goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But it does move the nutrients and the oxygen and the carbon dioxide through the worm. So that would be the circulatory system, and the parts of the circulatory system. Like I said, here's one of the hearts. You can see it's nice and dark. It looks very black. But there's 5 hearts up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you have the dorsal blood vessel, which runs along the top of the intestine and carries the blood. There's also another one that's underneath, but you can't see that. You're not supposed to know it, but it's the ventral blood vessel. Again, don't need to know it. You just need to know the dorsal blood vessel and the hearts. The reproductive system is, again, these are hermaphrodites. The 2 parts that you need to know are the seminal vesicles, and there's 3 lobes to the seminal vesicles. There's 1, 2, and the third ones are there. They're basically, they make sperm. But those 3 are the same, and all the same. If I asked you on the test and I said, where's seminal vesicle, and you pointed to that one, you'd be right. Pointed to that one, you'd be right. You pointed to either one of those, it'd be right. Doesn't really matter. I always try to, when I ask the question, what is this, I usually pick one of these 2 because they're really big. They're easy to see. But the seminal vesicle makes the sperm. The other one that we need to talk about is the seminal receptacle. Seminal receptacle is right here, and there's another one underneath there. They're little round balls, and they receive and store the sperm from the other worm. So they have, again, they're hermaphrodites. A couple other organs that we need to talk about, the cerebral ganglion. 2 little balls right here. Cerebral ganglion are the brain. It doesn't really have a brain. They're not doing calculus or anything like that. But they do control the worm and its movements, and those two little things there. And normally they're actually um, they're side by side. They're this way, but for some reason this one here is kind of turned that way. But you can see the two little balls, and that would be the cerebral ganglion. Going on to one of the other organs that we need to know about is the septa. The septa are the dividing lines. Okay, each segment has a dividing line. There's some real good ones right up here or down there. Um, and you can see the actual dividers for the worm, and that's basically what they do. Every segment has a divider. They hold the organs in place. They hold the skin to the worm to tight, and they probably help in the movement of the worm too by holding everything real well. And then finally, I'm going to go over to make sure, but I think finally we have nephridia back here. There's nephridia there, there's a nephridia there. If you can't find them on your worm, they would be between every single segment of the worm. And they basically are going to act as the kidney. They filter out the waste product. They and excrete it outside. Remember, worms don't have kidneys, but they do have waste product because cells are doing metabolism and producing nitrogenous waste, and the worm needs to get rid of it. And so the nephridia pulls that out and excretes it outside the worm, which is why you want earthworms in your garden, because they put nitrogen into the soil, which is real beneficial to the plants. So that would be the nephridia, and again, it acts like the kidney, and if you don't see it a lot easily, it's right there along, like I said, it's along the intestine right here between the different septa, between the septa. I believe that is it. I think we've covered everything. Just kind of going over the worm myself, make sure that we've got it all. I think that's it. So hopefully you can take this diagram here. Whoops. Take this diagram here. Match it up to the diagram in your packet so that you can recognize the two and learn from it. Because remember, you can't take the earthworms home, but you have the packet. You can't take a picture, but you have the packet to study from and prepare for the test. If you have any questions, make sure you come and see me during class. I hope you're studying for the test. I will see you on test day, and good luck.